Well, thank you. Indeed, I'm going to talk a little bit about gamification and the implementing game elements in everyday designs. As I've heard, I'm the first one speaking in this the future media track, which is quite new. Maybe I'm within the whole conference. I'm doing actually not so much on open source, but I do think that gamification, I will explain in the presentation, but can help on getting your audience, which is working on open source projects, being engaged more in the projects. But let me first talk a little bit about myself. Well, actually, I studied as an interaction designer, actually, what I really like within the interaction design is why are people motivated? Like, why are they passionate about the things they do? Why do they really like that? And how come they are so motivated? And if you look at games, then you see that people can get really motivated into games. They can really be in games and be really attached to the game and be really in it. And well, interaction design and well, this aspect of motivation is both can both be found in gaming. So therefore, I try to work on that field, and I'm doing that actually within 3 companies. The first one is Creative Seeds. That's a company where I do projects for different companies on applying game elements into their designs. But I'm also working in a company called Game-Driven Innovation, where we work on more on the process. So we're trying to build bridges between the game industry and the non-game industry by doing workshops and different kinds of presentations. And thirdly, I'm also working on a company which is called EduApp. And that's a product we're launching hopefully in the end of this year, where we're trying to implement new ways of learning, also through games and gamification. But I want to start actually with this guy. This guy already lived way before we started counting the years. And he said something which is still really applicable today, because he said, if you tell me something, then I might forget what I'm saying, what you're saying. If you show me something, I might remember, if you really show it to me. But if you really involve me in the
well, actually, it's more of a forward way of approaching the media, so that's why we call this the lean forward media. And not only in the living room or not only with the Nintendo Wii, but you also see it with the Microsoft Kinect, which is being launched, of course. We don't need a game controller anymore, but you can really use your hands and your body to be able to interact, to play games, but also to interact with the TV, for instance. Can I Yes, it's so. Just continue. I don't know. Why is it? It's a bit of an echo. Okay, well, just keep on going, I guess, then. Maybe just attach it a little bit further, like this. Okay. So I was talking about the Microsoft Kinect, which is, can be controlled using your body. But also in different places, actually, the game controllers are coming up, like in retirement homes. And these things are extremely popular there. So these, older people really like to play with the Nintendo Wii. And while playing, and they're really into the games, but while playing, they also get a little bit of exercise, which they really like. And they, so to see, extremely enjoy. So this whole interactivity thing, we apparently like that, and that's probably one of the reasons why the tablet PCs are really popular nowadays. Because we really like the interactivity, and we like the feeling of control. We like to do things and get feedback from that, and we want to engage with these products. And just a couple of months ago, I think it's about a month ago, in Holland there's this commercial company, and they're doing commercials on the some of the channels, and they launched an app which you have to use during commercials. So this app is showing you additional information about the commercial you're watching at that moment, so you can get extra information about the product you see on the commercial break and directly buy it. And well, this is popular as well. Apparently, we like that. We even like to have some sort of control within the advertisements we're getting. But also on websites, things are getting more and more interactive. Like where it used to be information sending and receiving, like the website is sending information, you're receiving. Things are getting more interactive here as well. So this is an example of the Samsung.com website, where you're getting points and rewards just by visiting different parts of the website. So you're getting feedback on the things you do just by visiting a website. So where we could do just a couple of things in the lean back media, just watch, listen, maybe change channels. Well, that's about it you can do. In the lean forward media, we can do so much more. Like we could, this list is actually endless, but you can watch and listen, of course, but also swing, pinch, zoom, sling, speed control. There's so many verbs you can apply to the lean forward media. So the question is actually, where does this urge of feeling in control comes from? Like why do we want to be in control? Why do we want to do all these kind of things? Well, if we look back a little bit, to our period as being kids, everyone played, of course, outside, maybe inside, wherever. But you had the ability to do all kinds of things. Well, you were not probably allowed to do everything you wanted to do, but still you had fantasy, you had imagination, so you could do all kinds of things. You could create stories and think about you were being a knight in some sort of an epic tale, so you could do whatever you wanted to do. And it's very important that you had a free space to play in. Like even the sandpit could become this huge black castle where this epic tale would be in. So, with your own imagination and all the freedom you had, you were really motivated to play and to make up your own, stories. And you could also learn as well when we were playing. Learn, for instance, about communication or about social skills, as you would learn with other kids. So there was this ability to learn. You would start playing, but in the end, maybe if you play a session or after a couple of sessions, you would definitely learn and could do better in some sort of the things you were doing. So these three things, like the meaningful stories, although they're fictive, epic tales, the free space to play in, the fact that you had freedom and you could decide for yourselves what you wanted to do, but also the ability to learn, like the fact that you could learn something from the things you were doing, that's apparently really important. And these three things actually are you can find in games as well. So games are often about these great epic tales. There's a free space to play because you can make your own decisions and you're in control of the things you want to do. You can decide yourself how you want to defeat that dragon, for instance. And there's this ability to learn because you have to get better in the game in order to improve and to get further and to succeed in playing the levels. So you can find decent games as well. For instance, in this one, World of Warcraft, I think well known to everyone here. And this game is really popular. Some figures, 12 million players worldwide. I think it's even more nowadays. But the figure actually which strikes me most is the 22 hours of gameplay, but it's an average. So there are probably people who just play this 1 or 2 hours a week maybe. But there are guys who do this like 40, 50, 60 hours a week. So it's like a full-time job playing World of Warcraft. So you wonder, why is that? Like, why is this game so immensely popular? What are the elements in this game which make it so really popular? And can we transfer these elements into different fields which are not gaming? So the question is actually, that these games are always about these fictive worlds. Like it's never the real world. It's always being imagined. So the question is actually, can we transfer these elements which are always being applied to this fictive world into the real world? So can we combine the elements of play, which we had as kids, and where we were being really motivated as kids to play, with the all the things we can do with the lean forward media, and can we combine that? And what do we get? So actually, if you combine that, you get into this subject of gamification. Which says gamification is the use of game elements and techniques, being borrowed from the games industry, into non-game context, so not in a game but in something else, to solve problems and engage people. And it's about applying these game techniques into the real world, so in real situations. And can we do that? And can we then achieve this same level of motivation that you would get when playing games? So there, it's quite popular actually, and there are already quite a few examples. So I want to give you just a couple of examples of how gamification is being applied nowadays. And I will do that in a couple of categories. Like this is the first one. This is more the inside-out examples of gamification. So a company decides to do something with gamification on their own products or service to their consumers. So they're applying that for all the people who are using their product or service. Second category is gamification just within the company, so within an organization. I think this is actually quite interesting for open source as well, because this is all about how do you get your employees engaged into creating your product and making a better product, and getting them really engaged to work on it. And the third example, which is might be interesting for open source as well, is more of the outside-in example. So it's of course the notion of crowdsourcing, but can we use gamification as well on crowdsourcing in order to motivate people and engage people, lots of people, in order to bring data back to some sort of an organization? Just first category, a few examples. Within the field of mobility, this is a dashboard from the Nissan Leaf car, which is the electrical car. And they built a dashboard for all the Nissan Leaf drivers, and they said to them, okay, this is your dashboard, and you can achieve points when you drive really fuel efficient. And the guy or the woman or the guy who drives the least, who uses the least fuel or least energy, can win a trophy. So it's just a dashboard. It's really social. Everyone is in the dashboard, and continuously you're getting feedback on how you are doing against all these other players. And this works really well, apparently. So people really get motivated to be conscious about their driving skills. So continuously when they're driving, they're thinking about this dashboard, and they're thinking, okay, I want to do well within this dashboard. So for instance, you can drive fuel efficient, if you accelerate really slowly, or if you take lots of time to brake. But you can also drive really fuel efficient if you don't stop for red lights. And apparently that is happening. People are not stopping for red lights because they know, if I stop for a red light, I need to brake and I need to accelerate, and that's not good for my position in the dashboard. So it's really strong, this notion of applying these game elements here. And also in the field of sports, this is an example. There are many examples actually in the field of sports and health, but this is one which is called Strava, and it's for cycling. And this as well, what they're doing very well is you're getting points for the fact that you're cycling, and the faster you cycle, the more points you get. And they have this leaderboard where you can compare yourself to your friends, but also other people who are cycling that exact same route. So you know that, well, maybe you're cycling alone, but you do get the incentive of competition, of winning from other cyclists, while you're not even sporting with them. And this works very well as well. So also within running, you got Runkeeper, you got Nike Plus. There are many examples, and they all build on this idea of gamification. And also within the field of education, the Khan Academy, maybe also known to some of you. But what they do is they provide all kinds of online video classes, and they're giving this visual map to all of their students actually. And with this visual map, they're saying, okay, you're really good in this area, but you have not succeeded yet this area. So if you want to have your full visual map colored, because if you don't do something, it's a black and white icon. Then you get colored icons there as well, and people like to have their whole visual map colored. So they're like working on the fact. So they're working on that and getting feedback from the system, and really trying to do everything. Really trying to do everything in all the video classes in order to get this whole visual map colored. So those are all examples from inside out, so from an organization or company to all the consumers or users who are using the product, but also within organizations. And this is an example I found, which is called PlayCall, and it's an example for in call centers. And you got the huge floors where everybody's calling, often to sell products, but also support everything. And this is a system which is running on the background while being on the phone, and it monitors your success of what you're doing. So, but your success, but also your success in relation to other people who were in the call center. So here also you get a bit of competition between the different people who are on the phone, and that works really well as well. The fact that there is competition works, but only the fact that it's that everybody can see what everyone is doing, and how your success rate is, for example, on all the calls you're doing. So getting that feedback is already really important. And on sales, there's this platform which is called Salesforce, which is monitoring all sales from salespersons and also competing them against each other, and their levels, their points, their badges, rewards, everything. So they borrowed a lot from the gaming world to apply that to sales. But also on the field of crowdsourcing, Google, I don't think it ever got out of the beta version, but a couple of years ago they had the image labeler, which is a bit of a game. So you're being attached to someone else. So you log in and you find another player to play with, and both of you get an image, for instance this image, and you have to type in tags. And if you type in the same tag, then you get points. You both get points. But you get more points for special tags. So if you would type in here car, then you would just get not so many points. But if you if you would type in an Audi, then you would get more points. So the thing is, people like to play with each other. The whole notion of having someone else somewhere playing at that same time, at that same moment with you. And for Google, this is extremely interesting because it fills up their database with tags. So it's crowdsourcing, but then gamified. And I think this is a really good example. It's called Foldit. It's like really a game, and it's about enzymes. And apparently, I'm not really into this field, but apparently enzymes are really difficult structures. And for computers, they are really difficult structures to unfold, like to really see how these things are working. And it has all kinds. It has to do with patterns, and human brains are actually really good in recognizing patterns. So what these guys did is they made a game, and they said, okay, we got a bunch of enzymes here, and please recognize patterns for us. And this was hugely popular, and actually in 2011, last year, there was a really big breakthrough, because a virus that could cause AIDS was being discovered here through the game. And it was actually a problem scientists were working on for more than 10 years, and gamers, lots of gamers, apparently figured it out in just less than 3 weeks. So crowdsourcing, of course, is really important, but making it into a game could engage lots of people more and more to be able to work on this problem. So we could actually really say that it's becoming a trend. So if we look into Google Trends and you type in gamification, you will see that in late 2010 it was coming up, and it's getting higher and higher. So it's interesting. It's apparently popular, and well, for some of the products it really works. And of course, there are lots of people who do also forecasts into the future, and they're like, and they're saying, well, this gamification thing is already like a big thing, but it's becoming bigger and bigger. So they expect in 2000, I don't know, that it's becoming like huge. So that every company or every product has some sort of game elements in them, in them to try to engage people. But then the question is, like, how does it really work? Like, how is it being applied? So let me just give you a brief explanation on actually one of the, well, maybe the company who started the whole trend, Foursquare. It's just about checking in. Well, actually, what their idea was to get people out of the house more. So they wanted to have a service for you to well, see your friends more and more. And what they did, it was a check-in service, and I don't think they knew it got so extremely popular. But they used the gamification elements quite good, actually. So what they did is it's a 4-step plan, actually. So in the first step, you have to give players some sort of a choice. You have to guide your players. So you should never give too much choice to your players. So in the game as well, there are always a couple of ways of succeeding a mission. There are never like 100 ways, just a couple. But you can make your own choice, and making your own choice means that you're taking responsibility for that choice you're making. So in this case, well, the choice is not that big because you can check in at different places. And in the second step, well, you're doing that choice, you're performing that action. So in this case, for Foursquare, it's checking in a certain venue. And when you did that, you're getting directly feedback. So in the game as well, you're doing something, you're doing certain action, and you're getting directly feedback on the things you've done. So what does this mean for you, but what does this mean for you in the game? And here as well, you're getting directly feedback in terms of points, badges, and leaderboards. So you're getting points, you can directly see in your leaderboard. Here it says in the bottom that you're hot on Rick's tail. So apparently just a couple of check-ins more, and then you can beat him. And in the 4th step, once you're getting that feedback, it means you can show progress. So once you get feedback, for instance, you're getting a badge or you're getting 2 badges, you can show progress. And in this case, it's being showed as colored badges and black and white things which you didn't get yet. So this could motivate you to check in more because you want to get them all. So showing progress. Then the following question is, well, how to apply it to your own product or service or business? Like, if I have my own, well, maybe open source project, how can I apply this? And is applying gamification, like, is applying these game elements always a guarantee for success? Gamification is a bit of a trend, but there's a lot of skepsis as well. Lots of people think, well, applying points and leaderboards and badges doesn't work at all. And it's true, it doesn't work like, it doesn't always work. You have to apply it in a good way. It means that you cannot just apply it, but it means you really have to rethink about your business. Like, what is the thing I'm doing? What's the product I'm making? And how can I change that in order to get people more and more engaged into my product? So there are several techniques actually to apply gamification, and I just want to give you a couple of them. And I think one of the things which is really important to start with is behavior. It's always really important to think about the users that are using your product. It could be, if that's applied internally, that's your employees. But if it's for a product, that is your users. And you need to think about what kind of people they are, and what kind of behavior they're currently in. So in this case, I already showed this image. The question is, what's their current behavior? Like, well, apparently they're just sitting on the couch doing nothing. It's not really a healthy lifestyle. So in terms of healthy lifestyle, their desired behavior should be different. Desired behavior should be that they would be exercising more and more, that they're walking, or that they're going outside or doing something. And this company called Fitbit tried to do that with a little tracker, and you keep it with you during the day. And once you walk and once you're taking steps, once you run, it monitors that, and a little flower is growing on this tracker. And so in the beginning of the day, this flower is really small. It just has one leaf. But maybe in the end of the day, it has like many leaves. It has about 10 leaves. And it means that you had a good day, that you exercised that day. So you're getting feedback on your amount of exercise. And apparently this works. Like people getting motivated to exercise, or at least to move. Because if they do that, if they're just going to walk to the supermarket, they see an extra leaf on their Fitbit, and it motivates them to, walk or run more and more. And also in this situation, it's quite actually a famous example. It has been on the internet, well, maybe almost everywhere. But this is in Stockholm. This is the exit of a subway station where everybody always would take the escalator. No one would take the stairs. And why? Yeah, because the escalator is simple. It's easy to use. Like everyone does that, and taking the stairs would require serious skills, or well, not skills, but it would require some condition to walk up those stairs. But what if we would make it a little bit more fun to do? What if we would give like direct feedback? What if we would change the stairs into a piano stairs? Then apparently that works, because lots of in this research, apparently 66% of the people took the stairs instead of the escalator. And what this thing does is that every step you take on the stairs is making a different kind of sound. So you can compose your own music while walking up the stairs, or even work together with lots of people in order to make a good music composition. And this is lots of fun for people. So they think, okay, well, this is fun. So they're walking up the stairs. But it's not only fun; it's also the fact that they're getting direct feedback of the things they do. It's some sort of an instant gratification. So people are changing behavior. So you always have to think about what's the current behavior of the users of my target group, and what do I want them to do? How do I want them to behave? So what's their desired behavior? So once you've figured out what that desired behavior is you're looking for, it's important to realize how to get there. Like, what goals and challenges are you presenting to these people? And you have to make sure that these goals and challenges are really interesting. Like, really interesting for that specific target group. So take a game of golf, for instance. It has quite a clear goal. There's this ball, there's this putt, and you have to place the ball in the putt. That's it, that's the goal. So that's actually very easy. You just grab the ball, walk to the putt, walk to the hole, and just drop it in. That's it. Well, that's not fun. But that's apparently the goal of the game. So what they did is, well, they thought, okay, we make rules and we make obstacles, and let's try to make the game of golf a little bit more difficult. And apparently that works to make the game more interesting. So this is, of course, an example, but it counts for all kinds of sports. And we apparently voluntarily agree upon these rules and obstacles. So we say, okay, we're going to play golf, and we agree on the fact that there are boundaries, and that we cannot, that we need a stick to hit the ball, we cannot throw the ball, all kinds of things. We voluntarily agree upon that, and then we play the game, and we think that is fun. And why is that fun? Because the challenges it gives us are really interesting. Like, this is interesting. For golfers, this is interesting to be in there and to try to learn and to become better in hitting the ball out of the sandpit. So then really achieving these challenges and really succeeding in doing these, well, feels good and is fun to do. So how did other websites do that? Mint is a website where they're trying to help you with your financials, personal financials. There are, I think, lots of people who have really trouble on maintaining those. And what they're saying is, well, we are creating really personal goals for you, like goals which are really interesting for you as a user. And those goals are, for instance, paying off your debts or saving for a holiday, for instance. So maybe you really have to save for a certain holiday you want to do. So you type in that goal, and Mint is helping you to achieve that goal. So you're constantly getting feedback on how far you're off your holiday and what you still need to save or still need to do in order to get that holiday. And then at a certain point you achieve that goal, you make that challenge, and then you're being rewarded, of course, by that holiday. So there's always this constant feedback. And Foldit as well, there are not so much personal goals in here. Well, it could be, of course, but I hope not, actually. But they're social goals. So once you play this, you really have the feeling that you're part of something bigger, that you're part of a really big social thing or experiment. And that thrives people as well, like being really motivated because they're in this social project. And the last thing, goals can also be really created around interest. So this is a website called Get Glue. The interest here is TV and series. And people are coming together here. They're building this huge community on information about sharing information and knowledge about different movies or TV series. And this platform is huge. Like there are lots of the community is really big. And well, this is of course just an example about TV series and films, but creating communities is always really difficult. But gamification solutions can really help building this community and getting this community to go viral, and you know, getting it really big in just a short amount of time. But again, the goals should be really interesting. The goals need meaning, because this doesn't have any meaning actually. Because if you would get this badge by just leaving the house, well, it would probably not motivate you to leave the house if you know you just get this badge and that's it. So it's just not a matter of applying badges. And there are other side effects as well you need to think about. So this is a service called ACOA, and they already stopped a couple of years ago because, well, in the beginning they grew really big, like there was this big community. But then they stopped, and why is that? Well, the idea of this service was to get more social connections between your friends or maybe people you don't even know by using these cards. And one of these cards is inviting someone for coffee. So you would go to one of your friends and you would say, oh, come on, let's drink a coffee. So you would go to a cafe, drink a coffee, and then once you would be there, you would talk, you would give him this card, and there would be a code on there in the little gray field. You would give him this card, and this guy needs to go to the ACOA website and fill in the mission ID, and then you are getting points because he filled in the card. And well, the funny thing is that the card could be reused, so you could know where it was traveling in the world, like if it would where it would go. So that's nice. But the thing is, if you would drink coffee with a friend of you, and you would say, hey, can you please fill in this mission ID on the ACOA website? He would think like, okay, why are you drinking coffee with me? Like, is it because you like me and you want to talk to me? Or is it just because of this stupid mission? Like, why are you doing this? So it's really important as well that if you are setting challenges and goals for your users, that you have to think through different scenarios. Like, what could happen and how could, this feel to certain people? Okay, so then you have the goals and the challenges, but then you still need to get to those goals and challenges. And that's being done actually by creating really small tasks. So in games as well, this is used as well, like a level is a goal or a challenge. But in order to succeed on a goal or a challenge, you have to do lots of different small tasks. And you have to guide your users, so you have to help them on that. So how do you do that? You have to give them the different small, but it's really important that the tasks are the right amount of difficulty. So let me just explain. By a game we all know, Angry Birds, immensely popular. While it's actually strange because you have to throw little birds at little green pigs. I mean, if you explain that, everyone would think, okay, you're crazy, this cannot get popular. But it's huge. It's the most popular mobile game. So why is it popular? Well, one of the reasons is that it's really well designed, and it's really well designed because of the relation between skills and difficulty. So in the beginning of the game, the first levels are really easy to do, so your skills are still really small. But the level of difficulty you're getting is really low as well, so that's good. But once you're getting into the game, your skills are improving. You already threw some birds at pigs, so you know how it works. But the level of difficulty is getting bigger as well. So you're getting this bigger structures you need to overcome. more difficult. And then at the end of the game, it's getting like extremely difficult, but your skills are growing as well. So the importance here is that this line is upwards. And we call, in game design, we call that flow. And it's really important to stay in that flow. So this is important for games, but this is important for everything. Like this is important for schools as well, within education, or within work. If you're working in an organization and you're getting things to do in the beginning that you're working there, which are extremely difficult, then you get some sort of an anxiety or an aversion against that job you're doing. But also if you're working already at a company for a couple of years and the things you have to do are still so extremely easy, they're not difficult, then boredom sets in. Then it's not a fun job to do. So staying in this flow is extremely important. And staying in this flow means learning, because your skills are improving over time, so it means learning. And there was this game designer, he said, learning is fun. And when we think back to our schools, we don't necessarily agree on that, not always. But actually, like the human mind wants to learn. And learning is fun. So learning is actually only fun if it's being done in the right conditions, like in the right setting. So you need the right context. And games are fun because he says they're clean systems which encourage our brains to learn and eventually master them. So the fact that you know that you're playing this game and you're learning, and you know that probably at the end of the game you're really mastering those skills you need to be able to do the game and to successfully play the whole game, that motivates us. That motivates us to play that game. And if you want to apply this to, let's say, a community or some sort of a tool or service, online service, you can do this by dividing your users into 3 different categories. It could be more, I think 3 is a good number. So once people are getting familiar with your product or service, they're still beginners. But once they're already working a little bit on your product or service, they're experts. But once they're really good and they know all the features and then they really know how to use it, then they're a master. And Twitter, for instance, the website, does this in the following way. Like when you apply for a new account, you're a beginner, then onboarding is really important. So it's just you're just in this process for maybe a minute, 2 minutes, maybe even less than a minute. The only thing here you have to do is to build your timeline. So they're saying, okay, this is your goal. They're saying start by following 5 people. That's your goal. Really easy, not difficult because your skills are still really low. You just follow 5 people. So they give a list. And once you've done that, you're not longer a beginner anymore. Then you're an expert. And experts, what they want is new content or new activities or maybe new friends. So they want to get new, interesting content to look at. Twitter is doing this on the left side. They have a box saying who to follow. So once you're already in the system, you're using it already, how can you improve? How can you get better into the system? And you can really master it by being Lady Gaga, for instance, with her 23 million followers, probably a little bit more by now. And you can see that she is a master because she has the blue V at the end of the name. So this is like a really personality within the service. So this in every service it could work. Like in Foursquare, for instance, this is the mayorship. Like then you're really mastering a certain venue, but you're mastering the service. You really know how it works. And lastly, which is really important, is don't forget the fun. And fun is not meant here so much as humor or making jokes or whatever. It is part of having fun, but also, which I told earlier, that learning can be fun. And Bernie de Koven is another game designer. He said, well, if it's not fun, why are we still playing? So he's saying, if you make a game which is not fun, then you can forget it because no one will play it. So there needs to be elements of fun in there. And elements of fun can also be in stories. Like this is Space Invaders, extremely successful game, old game. And there is a huge narrative in here because these are all aliens invading the world. And you need to protect those aliens from reaching the world by shooting at them. So this is kind of an epic tale actually where you're in. So you're being the hero if you succeed on killing all those aliens before they enter your world. But if you would say, okay, you're a green block and these are white blocks, and make sure the white blocks disappear. Then it's not so fun anymore. So then it's not a fun game. So make sure you have a good narrative. So in game design, this is of course being applied all the time, but also in gamification it's being applied. And I really like this example. It's called Zombies Run. And this is an iPhone application, and you have it in your pocket while you're running, and you have your ear plugs in, and it has a GPS tracker, so it knows where you are, and it knows your speed of running. So you start running, and then really in the back, you hear some zombies. Really slowly, they're not making that much sound yet, but if you don't run fast enough, you will hear them coming, and they're coming at you, like you hear them breathing in your neck. So you need to run faster, and once you run faster, you would notice that the zombie sounds are getting lower and lower again. So this is really fun. They're applying like a really nice narrative into this game in order for people to run, to exercise. So that's fun as well. But the fun can also be like really in the simple stuff. MailChimp, for instance, they're doing really simple things like here the monkey saying, "I love the smell of email in the morning." It just gets you in a certain mood and be able to do things or perform certain actions when in a little bit of a more relaxed, fun mood is apparently far more productive. And Foursquare is doing that as well. Once you're getting badges, for instance this badge, which is the historian badge, probably because this guy went to some sort of a historic venue. And the badge is saying that Thomas Jefferson would be really proud of you because you visited this venue. So that's fun as well. So to conclude, if you think about the desired behavior you want to achieve, really think about that and how this target group could achieve this desired behavior. Think about who you want to change and think about the current behavior and the desired behavior. But also think about the values of this target group. Like what do they think is important? And how could they get to that desired behavior? So what are the challenges that you're presenting to these users? And are these challenges really interesting and personal for these people? But also really think about the side effects. Like which side effects can emerge? Really think about all the scenarios. Think through the challenges that are in your game or in your gamification solution. Always try to get your players in a certain flow. Make sure that the tasks and challenges they're getting in the beginning are easy, but they're more difficult in the end of the game or in the gamification solution. And never, never forget the fun. Thank you. Okay, maybe there are some questions from the audience. I think there's a microphone.
Hi, I wanted to ask about the flow. You put a linear approach on flow. Do you think any other growth rates would work? Like not so linear, but in a curve? I don't know.
Well, I think so. And I never think it's always like a straight line, because that would be impossible. And everyone is different. So for everyone, that curve or line would be a little bit less or more steep. So probably it's always an area where you're in. So there are probably like multiple lines, but once you're in that area and you stay in that area, so it could be like a bit of a wave as well, then it's good. So it's always about an area which is important to be in. And the importance is probably not to get too far off that area.
Hi. I noticed in your tweet before the session that you said how gamification can help open source. Did you already cover that? Because I read a little late.
Well, a little bit, but not too much actually, because I was making this presentation and was not thinking too much about open source actually. But I do think that it could really help. Within open source, it's of course really important that this group of people that is working on a project is co-designing a certain project. A certain software product, for instance, it's really important that all these people are really engaged in making that product. And I was thinking about that yesterday, actually, while we were having dinner with some of the speakers. The idea of open source is, of course, that everything you make is free and available, and everyone can build upon that. But still, the respect of the things you're making is really important. And gamification is also all about respect as well. Like if you are doing something, if you're sharing information on a community, then you can always still see where that information is coming from. So who gave that information, and you can see where that information is going and who is using that information. So if you apply those elements for like a certain tool in order to, well, with that tool build your open source project, then I think gamification could definitely work in order to, motivate people really to work on that project and get them really engaged.
I agree, but I would be extremely careful where in open source I employ this, because people contribute to open source mainly out of an intrinsic motivation. So I do this because I like it, or I want to make the world a better place, and so on, and not necessarily for an extrinsic motivation, like someone is paying me or someone is giving me badges and so on. So I think you need to be really careful where and how you employ this to not destroy the motivation of your people in the long term.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. So, like, there always needs to be a really good balance between the intrinsic and the extrinsic motivation. So there's been a lot of research on that, and apparently only intrinsic motivation doesn't work and only extrinsic motivation doesn't work. So we always need to have a good balance, and that's actually why a lot of gamification solutions are going wrong, because they only focus on the extrinsic, and they really need to think about. So that's also with the goals. The goals need to be really personal, or they need to be really social. You need to somehow feel connected to the goals, otherwise it wouldn't work.
We don't have time for more questions, so please let us know where we can find you for more information.
Well, you can find me, of course, on Twitter. Actually, that would be the most easy. It's on the bottom.
I'm talking about here.
Oh, about here. I don't know. Around the venue, probably.
Okay, thank you.